Joining the Observer on the air live couldn't be easier. First, visit bit.ly/obguest. Once you click on that, you'll wind up on this screen. Then, you'll have to choose the webcam that you want to use. You can see there's a list of them here. And once you choose the right webcam, you'll then have to choose the microphone that you want to use. It's all very simple. Then type in your name where it says your name here. And once you have finished typing your name, click the join button. Then you'll be in the queue to be on the air. It's that easy. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 21st day of May in the year 2024. Sure hope you're enjoying this beautiful first summer-like day today here in the Northeast. I know it was warm a couple of weeks ago, but this is it. We are here finally. No more cold weather, hopefully, even though it's still a little nippy in the morning. But what a gorgeous day today is so far. And as you do each and every Tuesday, you welcome me into your home so that I might bring you this week's edition of The Observer. But before we get into that, we have a few things that didn't make it into the paper this week. And before I do that, I will welcome in everybody who is watching us live, including Manny Ventoso, Carmen De Jesus, Melanie Ryan, and Bill Dow. So it's good to see all of you and everybody else who may be in the background as well. Now, you may have seen this last week because I broadcast this, and I'm going to do it again because this is too good for those who maybe didn't get a chance to see it. But Billy Erezuma is an East Newark police officer. He is a great cop. I've known him for a long time. And he got in on this epic wedding proposal with a guy he knows from East Newark. And he pulled off what I think was one of the better, more unique wedding proposals I've ever seen. So without any further ado and me babbling, I'm going to turn this over to Billy, who pulled over his friend and his fiancée. And the rest will explain itself. Take a look.
I just looked over and saw him.
How you doing, officer?
Good evening, sir. How you doing? Just to let you know, I am audio and video recording this. Need license, reg, insurance, please.
Yeah.
So you are the registered owner to this vehicle, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, when I ran your plate in the back, we have automatic plate readers in the vehicle, and a pin came up. So what I'm gonna need you to do is just step out. Listen, I see you have kids in the vehicle, so we're gonna try to resolve this as best we could. But there is a discrepancy. If you could just please step outside with me, sir. What I do? Well, the reason for the stop is, so right now, just try not to smile. This way, actually. So, I'm gonna pretend like I'm talking to you. She is videotaping us now. How you doing, ma'am? Listen, there was some discrepancies with Mr. Michael Farrier back there. Excuse me, Mike Farrier. I just wanted you to come over there.
Oh my God!
Oh my God.
So in a borough where there's not always that much action, Billy Erezuma pulled off a great moment there with this couple. They are now happily engaged, we're ready to be married, and we have to give a hat tip to Billy for pulling this off and for the East Newark Police Department for allowing this to happen. Well done, Billy, if you haven't seen this. Now, coming up tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. is a candlelight vigil for those who have been lost to the hideous disease of addiction. The Elks of Kearny Belleville are putting this on together with the Kearny Prevention Coalition, and I want to thank Bill Dow for sending this over to me over the weekend. Again, it's tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. over at the Bicentennial Park, which is right next to Town Hall on Kearny Avenue. And this is always a very emotional day. It's a great visual and a reminder of all the people who have been lost to this disease. And there will be people who speak as well, and remembrance of all the lives that have been lost. And God knows we hear about it so often. So tomorrow night at 7:15, if you are available, I would highly recommend going over and doing this. This is one of the big things that the Elks does every year. They are an extremely active organization, the Kearny Belleville chapter and the Harrison East Newark chapter especially, that we know of on a personal basis. And Bill and Melanie, I'm sure, have been working very hard to pull this together for tomorrow with the Kearny Prevention Coalition, with Jack Corbett and his gang over there too, and Jen Collins. So if you have no plans, try to make it over there tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. and that's when you will see this remarkable candlelight vigil that they have done before. So, but another fine example of how much the Elks are doing to make this town better each and every day. This photo that you see here comes to us from Mike Perrone. He is the president of the Belleville Historical Society. And over at Glendale Cemetery in Bloomfield, 5,000 people, 5,000 flags were planted, all at graves of people who have lost their lives in service to the United States of America. And this is just a stunning overview of all of the flags that were planted at this cemetery. And Mike Perrone and the Belleville Historical Society don't just plant it here at Glendale Cemetery. It's all over the place that they do this. But this is just one of the examples of how the Belleville Historical Society is out there in front and leading the way when it comes to remembering people who have lost their lives in the service to the United States of America. But look at that shot. I mean, it's just a sea of flags that youngsters put out, and they will be there through Memorial Day weekend, I'm sure longer than that as well. But a tremendous sight that you see right here. And we thank Mike Perrone, of course, not just for what he did with this, but everything that he does for the people of Belleville, Nutley, and Kearny. Don't forget, he was responsible for the complete cleanup of the Christopher Columbus statue in Kearny, and he also refurbished was a monument over on Schuyler Avenue by the CVS over there a couple of years ago, and he did renovations at the park on Kearny Avenue by Beach Street, that name of which I always forget. So Mike Perrone, one of the true great people of this neck of the woods, he's constantly doing great things for us, and I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for all he does and for sharing all these things with us all the times. It makes life so much easier. I want to now welcome in Billy Scarterfield, who is out in Arizona, just had hip replacement surgery, and he tells us right now his new hip is outstanding, and I'm so glad to hear that, Billy. That is certainly good news, and hopefully you can regain your life again after all these months and years of not having it. So it's really good news indeed to hear that. We also welcome in my Uncle Mike Slane, who is wishing my mother and Mike a happy time in Aruba. They are in Aruba, indeed. They'll be there for another week. I'll pick them up at the airport a week from today. And, of course, to Uncle Mike, congratulations to his New York Rangers, who are in the Eastern Conference Finals of the National Hockey League playoffs. They host the Florida Panthers tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden at 8 p.m. on ESPN. If you have about $20,000 to spare, you could probably get yourself a seat somewhere in there. The seats are through the roof on the secondary market. It is just obscene what is going on the secondary market for the National Hockey League and the National Basketball Association. But as much as I dislike the Rangers, for my uncle's sake, I hope they win the damn Stanley Cup. And so far, there are no signs that they won't. Welcome in also Larry Hanlon, who is watching us from somewhere in the area. Larry, good to see you too. And John Drimkowski over in North Arlington. Good to see you, John, too. Thank you all for popping on and joining us today. I really appreciate it. You could be doing just about anything, but you're here instead. Now, this story here comes to us from Scott Macfie, who is the new chief of police of the Kearny Police Department. You know, he took over on May 1st when George King retired. So a couple of days ago, he calls me and he says, "You're not going to believe this story. This woman from Nutley found my father's ID tag, and she wants to return it to me." And I just thought, oh my God, this is just as good as it gets when something like this happens. Well, what it turns out is, for years, her dad unfortunately died in 2021. She has been trying to find somebody with the name Macfie who had a connection to Kearny, because on the tag it said 39 John Street, which was where Mr. Macfie used to live. And unfortunately, whenever she would search, she never found anything. But lo and behold, 2 editions ago, Scott was on the front page of the Observer, having become the new chief, and we had his picture up there with his wife and a few other pictures as well. And a couple of days after we posted it to the Observer.com, this woman, Rhonda Frob, does another Google search. But this time, she gets a different result, and it's from the Observer, which covers Nutley, and she's read, and she's written a story for the Observer way back when, North Arlington Volunteer Emergency Rescue Squad, right? So how about that? I mean, it is just unbelievable. So she does this. She finds Scott, and she's able to return his ID tags, which were lost sometime between 1974 and 1985 at our best estimate. So they've been missing for 50 to 40 years, okay? Give or take a year or two. Now, the coincidences don't end there. The fact that you're not going to believe where the tags were. Rhonda moved into a house that Scott's family used to live in West Milford. And not only did she move into this house where Scott's family used to live, the bedroom that she took over was the same bedroom that was Scott's before he moved back to Kearny with his mom. So there's that coincidence. 39 John Street, where Mr. Macfie, Thomas Macfie, used to live, is now occupied by a relative of Kearny councilwoman Mary Trine DeCastro. So there are all these ridiculous coincidences. Thomas Macfie eventually moved to the town of Wayne. And don't you know, Rhonda Frob also lived in Wayne on the exact same street. Not the same building, not the same apartments that Thomas Macfie moved into after he left West Milford. The connections were beyond ridiculous. So much so that if you were to take this and make a fiction, write this as fiction, it would have been so ridiculous that I think most people who are book editors would probably have turned it away and said, this is too far-fetched, there's no way. But the reality is, all of this actually happened. It actually happened. So it's one of the best and most enjoyable stories that I've ever had a connection to. From a feel-good standpoint, I hope you'll read it. And just remember, when you read this, you're going to think like so much of this is BS, but it's not. It all legitimately happened. And a couple of weeks ago, Rhonda Frob came over to Kearny Police Headquarters, and she returned the tag to Scott that belonged to his father, Thomas. And he's no longer with us either. So amazing way that this all came full circle. Rhonda's connection to North Arlington and Nutley and Kearny and being on the emergency rescue squad, you just cannot beat it. So I really had a blast getting a chance to research the story. And to Scott, thank you for telling us about it. This could have been something you wanted to keep private. It's a time where you reconnect with your dad, who's no longer with us, and Rhonda's father, who is no longer with us. But the fact that you shared it with us is just great, and I'm so glad I was able to have a part in this and be able to bring it to all the people of this area, and not just Kearny, because this was one that's worth reading no matter where you all live. Now, there's a couple of things in the chat. Larry Hanlon wants to know if there'll be a debate for the 3rd Ward, perhaps maybe in November, not for the primary. don't have the time for it to do on a ward by ward basis, Larry. Unfortunately, we basically limited it to mayoral races, because if we do it for one council race, we're going to have to do it for every council race, and I don't have the resources for it. Perhaps when we get to the November portion of the election, once a winner of the primary on the Democrat side is over, and then there's a Republican candidate, we don't know if there'll be a independent or non-affiliated candidate running. We'll see about it then, but for a primary, it's just too much for a single race, and there are so many other races that we haven't done it for. It wouldn't be fair to them. Adam Ginsburg has been asking about the increased flights over our homes. I hear it every night. It's all the flight patterns are all dictated by the weather. That's the only thing that I know with 100% certainty. So it depends on which way the winds are blowing, what the cloud cover is. So the takeoffs have been coming from the south to the north, and they've been flying over homes in Harrison and Kearny. But the only thing I can tell you is that it's been dictated by the weather. Most of the time, it's better when they're landing and they're going from the north to the south, and they're over the Schuyler Avenue corridor, over the Meadowlands. But there are times where the planes cannot take off to the south because of the way the winds are blowing and the cloud cover is and things of that nature. So whatever the conditions have been over these last couple of weeks, and why there's so much noise of them flying over, is based on the weather. Unless something else has changed, but I can't imagine that there would be any other reason why they would change them. There was a time where they were trying to limit the number of planes that flew over homes. They are supposed to throttle back, I know, when they get to a certain altitude and when they get to a certain number of homes that they're flying over. I don't think that's happening, because you can tell that when the planes that Adam has mentioned are taking off, these things are at full throttle. And even though some of these new 737s, A321s are smaller and have less powerful engines, they're still damn noisy. And that doesn't take into account when a 777 or a 787 or a 747 takes off. Forget about it. The noise is doubled in some cases, especially because they're, on the 747 there are 4 engines. So, Adam, the best I can tell you, that from the knowledge that I have, is that it's based on the weather. It's not every day, but it's on days where the weather pattern dictates it that they have to take off flying north. Truth of the matter is, it's better when they take off going to the south. Unfortunately, it just hasn't happened that much lately. Oh, before I go on to the next story, too, I got to show you this. This is unbelievable. This is some of the work that Manny Ventoso did for me in my new apartment. I am moving back to Kearny on the 15th of June. And the apartment, before he got there, all of this yellow that you see here were wood panels. All of the doors that you see right here, all these doors were all wood. And the trim along the bottom on the floor were all wood as well. Manny and his guys did this work in a day and a half. And when I tell you that he has transformed what I think was a nice apartment into a gorgeous apartment, from an apartment where the walls were ancient and dirty into this, I am not kidding you. I am in awe of what he did and his guys did over the last 2 days. And it's done, and it's perfect. It was everything I could have dreamed of as I prepare to move back to Kearny. So I cannot thank Manny enough for this. His work with Handy Manny, all the people who he works with, is top notch. You're not going to get a better sales pitch than you will with me, because this work was done in, I'm telling you, 36 hours. He texted me yesterday morning at 7:30, and the whole set of walls were primed already, 30 minutes after he arrived. And the beauty of this apartment, Bill Scarterfield, it is on the first floor. It doesn't require any steps. It is ground level, I should say. I guess it's a basement, but it is perfect. I don't have to climb any stairs anymore. Can walk right in. And the work that Manny did here is just nothing short of epic. So Manny, thank you so much. I'm sorry it took me so long to remember to get to this. I was going to get to it eventually, but this was probably the most important thing that I had a chance to talk about today, because it's just beautiful craftsmanship. It's a work of art. It really is. One trip shopping. Billy, you know it, because Bill knows that when I buy groceries, usually it's one trip or it doesn't happen. Up the stairs and in. And I'm not doing 2 trips, but luckily I don't have to worry about that ever again, hopefully, for the rest of my life. In Nutley, John Kelly is the new mayor. He won the commissioner's race in a 7-way race for 5 seats, and he had the most votes. In Nutley, the commissioner who gets the most votes becomes the mayor, and then the rest will serve as commissioner. So John Kelly is going to replace Joe Scarpelli, who was the current mayor, and we congratulate them. It was a very tight race. Maria Hamlin came in at 6th place by just a couple of votes shy. But it's like 120 votes shy in a town like Nutley. That's a very tight race. We wish her all the best. She ran a good race, and so did all the rest of the commissioners. Tremendous work there. And then in Belleville, we have the results from the 4 council races too, so I hope you'll check that out as well. This is important. If you are a parent in the town of Kearny, the uniform exchange is open already for the 2024-2025 school year. Now, the 2 QR codes that you see in this week's edition of The Observer, and if you're watching this now, you can pause the video even at this moment, and the first QR code you scan will be for the pre-K through grade 6, and the second one toward the right-hand side of the page is for grade 7 through 12. You register there. These uniforms are gently, lightly used. They're all laundered by Super Laundromat with the Santos brothers, Danny and George, who do a phenomenal job. They're a part of this group that Jenny Paz is involved with, the PBA is involved with, the FMBA, Mina Claudius, Juan Barroso Jr. This is a wonderful service for parents. You know, your school uniforms can be expensive, and kids grow out of them. So why do you need to go and buy these expensive shirts when you can get them so much cheaper? It's a great thing that they do, really, in Kearny to do this. So it's open and it's ready to go, and they're going to have a couple of distribution dates over at Arlington Depot Park. I know Deputy Mayor Melanie Ryan has had a big part in securing that location, so I want to give her a pat on the back as well for all the great work that everybody involved at this program do. And Larry just said it himself. It's a great program. It really is, and it makes it so much easier for parents, especially those who are struggling. And it's one less needed expense that parents have to worry about come September. The new Denizens Bistro is open. I haven't been there yet, but I'm telling you, this place looks like it's in Midtown Manhattan. You would never know it was the old Connolly's on Kearny Avenue. That's no shot to the Connolly's either, but the difference between what that was and what it is now is just tremendous. And I had a chance to meet and speak with Sarah, one of the new owners. They have done a tremendous job putting this place together, and I can't wait to have dinner over there one of these nights on the weekend. So check it out. We did a review of the place, and there's some things from the menu. You can read the menu online, and they do a Saturday and Sunday brunch too. So if you're looking for something during the course of the day on a weekend, you get something starting at 11 o'clock in the morning over at Denizen. So check that out when you get a chance. We have a tribute to the heroes of this world for Memorial Day as well on page number 5, so I hope you'll read through that when you get a chance. We also have Colts Cartoon, which starts this week for the first time. And then, of course, this one where the Lyndhurst Police Department recovered a scooter that had been stolen from the Harrison Path Station. Don't forget, we also have 2 pages of classified, so check those out as well. So you're looking for a place to live, or if you need a job, we have plenty of classifieds for you to check out. And Jason Bernstein has 3 sports stories. Now, just one housekeeping item. We will be going to press for the next edition of the paper 1 week from tomorrow. We'll be going to press on Friday of this week. That is the 24th. So the deadlines are moved up. The classifieds will be due at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. So if you got to get a classified in, please make sure you have it by 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. We will be closed on Monday in observance of Memorial Day. Do you believe It's Memorial Day already. Where the hell did that come from? It is already Memorial Day coming up. So, on behalf of Lisa, Bobby, Michelle, everybody here at The Observer, we want to thank each and every one of you for watching. We hope you all have a great Memorial Day. Remember all those people who have given their lives in service to this country. They are the reason we celebrate this. Oh, yes, and the parade is Thursday in Kearny. The parade in Kearny is Thursday night along Belgrove Drive. You will be able to find something about that on the town website or also in the last week edition of The Observer. You can check that out as well. Uncle Love You, too. From the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com, it's Kevin Canessa signing off for now. And we will be back with you I think we'll be back on Thursday with Tony Mondero. And then if we are not back then, we will see you 1 week from today. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.